Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video, we will try to run CRUD operations in JSON in a Postgresql database. First, I will initialize npm. Next, create an index.js file and install the packages Express, NodeMon, PG, and EJS. Now create a views folder. The views directory will contain the HTML templates that will be rendered when the user visits a web page. Inside it, create index.ejs file and add some boilerplate HTML code. In the package.json, add the script dev nodemon index.js. Now in the index.js file, import the Express library and we will create an instance of Express stored in the variable app. This instance will be used to define routes and set up our web server. Import the pool class from the PG library, which is used to connect to Postgresql database, and also import path. Declare port equal 3000 and finally import EJS. The app uses .env to load sensitive information like database credentials from a .env file. For this, install .env package and create a .env file and declare username, host name and database name, database password, dialect and port number. Const pool equal to new pool. This sets up a connection pool to the PostgreSQL database. The connection pool allows us to reuse database connections rather than opening and closing them frequently. Now let's set up the view engine. app.set views path.join underscore directory name views. This tells Express where to look for the view files. Then app.set view engine EJS. This sets EJS as a templating engine. EJS allows us to embed JavaScript code in the HTML files. app.use static express.static static. This line tells Express to serve static files like CSS, images, and JavaScript files from the static folder whenever the user visits any URL starting with static. Now let's set up the middleware. This middleware allows Express to parse URL encoded data from forms, make it easier to access form data in request body. This allows Express to parse JSON data in incoming requests, which is useful when handling API requests. The pull.function function establishes a connection to the PostgreSQL database. It takes a callback function with 3 arguments: error, client, and release. If there is an error while trying to connect to the database, it logs the error to the console. Line.query select now is a test query that checks the current time from the database. If this query succeeds, we know that the connection is working. Release releases the client back to the pool, making it available for future use. Now to create tables, open the SQL terminal. Here I will create a SQL file called tables. I will write the code for defining the tables, then I will paste the code in SQL terminal. I find it easier this way. Create table book list. We'll create a new table in Postgresql database named book list. The ID column is used to uniquely identify each record in a table. C automatically generates a unique number starting from 1 for each new row. Not null means that this column cannot be empty. Primary key indicates that this column will be uniquely identified for the table, ensuring that no two rows can have the same ID. Title column will store the title of the book. Parser means it will store text data. Not null means that every book must have a title. Author column will store the author's name. Like title, it uses parser to store text, and not null ensures that every book must have an author. Other details. This column stores additional information about the book as a JSON binary data type. JSONB allows storing structured data like key value pairs in JSON format, which can be queried and indexed more effectively than plain JSON in PostgreSQL, also providing flexibility to store structured information. To insert data into table, write insert into the table name and then the name of the column. Then specify the values. First value will be the title of the book. The second is the name of the author. And finally, the JSON data, which is the additional information about the book stored in JSON format, which is basically a key value pair. You can add as many key value pairs as needed. In the read endpoint, at this line, const data equal to await pull.query select star from book list. This line connects to the PostgreSQL database and runs a SQL query. Select star from book list. This query fetches all the records from the book list table. The result of the query is stored in the data variable. The data.rows contains an array of book objects, where each object represents a row from the book list table. Response to render index data.rows. After fetching the data, the server renders the index template using EJS embedded JavaScript, passing the data.rows array to the template as the data variable. Rendering the template means combining the HTML code in the index.js file with the data to produce a final HTML that will be sent to the user's browser. Now, in order to render the fetched data with EJS, go to index.js, write the following lines of code. Angle brackets, the percentage, if data.length greater than 0. This checks if there is any data to display. If the data array contains at least one book, the code inside this block will run. This line of code loops through each book object in the data array and generates HTML for it. Then within ptext, the title, angle brackets, percentage equal book.title. Now to add a book, we will first create a form. The form submits data to the add book route using post method. It also contains input fields for the book's title and author, which are required. There is a section to input key value pairs for additional details about the book, example year, genre, and pages. The Add Key Value Pair button dynamically adds more key value input fields using JavaScript. The other details text area is hidden and is used to store the JSON string of key value pairs. It will be populated by JavaScript before the form is submitted. Now we will create functions for managing key value pairs and form submissions. Add key value. This function dynamically creates a new key value input field with remove functionality and appends it to the key value container div. It adds a remove button next to each key value pair. The remove key value pair function removes a key value pair when the corresponding remove button is clicked. The add book function is called when the form is submitted. It collects all the key value pairs from the input fields, builds a JavaScript object and converts it into a JSON string. The JSON string is then inserted into the hidden other details text area, so it gets sent to the server as part of the form data. Now to create the endpoint of the save the book, go to the index.js file and write app.post add book async request response. This defines a post route at add book. When a form is submitted to this route, this function is triggered. Cons title author other details equal to request body extracts title author and other details which is JSON string on the form submission request body. The cons first data equal to JSON parse other details parses the other details JSON string on a JavaScript object. Then insert the new book into the book list label in the Postgresql database. The title, author, and parse other details are added as follows. After it is successfully added, the user is redirected back to the home page. If any error occurs during the process, a status 500 code is sent with an error message. Now for the update function, I will first create the route. This is an express route that handles the update request from the client. The ID in the route is a URL parameter representing the unique ID of the book that needs to be updated. The ID is extracted from the URL parameter using request.params. The updated title, author, and other details are extracted from the body of the post request using request.body. The pull.query function is used to update the book list table in the Postgresql database. The SQL query updates the title, author, and other details columns for the row where the ID matches the book being updated. The values of the columns are provided in the array title, author, other details, and ID. If the database update is successful, the server sends the JSON response with the status OK. Or if an error occurs, the server logs the error and sends a 500 status code with an error message. Now go to the index.js page, and in the section where the form is where the details of the book are being displayed, I am going to make this p text and li text editable by adding the attribute content editable equal to true, and I will also add an ID for each of it. First for the book title, then for the author. Similarly, in the JSON data, I will add the book ID, copy this and paste it here. The book ID will give an unique ID for each of the books. And then I will add a button which will call the update function, which I will shortly write, and it will pass in the book ID as a parameter. Now in the index.js file, I will define the function to update the book. The function is designed to be triggered when a user wants to add the book's details. The ID parameter represents the unique ID of the book in a database. The title and author values are retrieved from the HTML elements that have IDs, title, ID, and author -ID. The .inner text gets the text content from the element, and trim removes any extra spaces around the text. The other details object is constructed by iterating over all the li elements inside a data list $id container. Each li element contains a key value pair representing additional details about the book. For each li, it extracts the key and value text content from the corresponding span elements and adds them to the other details object. The fetch function sends an HTTP post request to the update ID endpoint. The content type header is set to application JSON, indicating that the body of the request is JSON data. The body of the request is a JSON string which contains the updated title, author, and other details. Now for handling response, if the response from the server is successful, response.ok, an alert is shown saying book updated successfully, and the page is reloaded with location.reload to reflect the updated data. If the response indicates an error, an alert is displayed instead. Now in the UL, instead of class, this should be ID. There is a mistake there. And also in the key section in the span, I have to give this index. Means insert the index, and this is how it will be. Through the index, it will target the specific key value pair to edit. Okay, let's try it now. Okay, it's working. Now for the delete part, let's first create the endpoint. app.getDelete book ID string request response cons ID request.params. The ID will be retrieved from the parameters. Pull.query select delete from book list where ID equal to $1 and I will pass in the ID. If the delete operation is successful, then it will redirect to the page, means it will reload the page, and the deletion will be reflected. Now in the index.js page, I will create a form with action delete book, and I will pass in the book ID of the book and send the ID along with the URL to the backend and a button with delete. Save it and try it. Okay, it's working. I hope you like this video, and I will see you on the next one.